We on?
We're on.
We're on. We're away.
Usually we're full of shits and giggles.
Yeah.
But this one,
There in
we're like, I said to you, let's do a podcast at 1 o'clock today. And everyone rocked up. I haven't got anything. So you've been sitting here for the past 10 minutes finding shit.
Shit.
No, I had a bit of shit. I had a bit of shit lined up. A little bit of the stuff lined up.
We actually did do a podcast about 20 minutes ago talking about all the shit.
Yeah, I know. We do it every bloody time, eh? We should have like a silence rule that when we rock up, we're not allowed to say shit. We get down here, turn everything on, and then start yarning. That's how we should do it.
So if you don't know who we are, I'm Taz, that's Jai, and that's Q behind there.
And
Howdy.
welcome to the Pub Ammo podcast.
Yes, and we fill your ear holes with copious amount of bullshit, but don't Google it. But also, it's true.
Fact, fiction, and knowledge.
And fallacy.
A lot of fallacy. That's the one. I'll kick off today. I wanted to say a pretty big thank you to everyone that shot us the messages over the last week after the last podcast.
Definitely, I had a read of them too. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Because I wasn't even sure that I wanted to have a chat about it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I was sitting on the fence with it. I was sitting on the fence with it for like 6 months, to be honest.
Yep.
Like there was so many times it was on the tip of my tongue, and I just pulled it back, and we ended up talking about something else.
So just to add a bit of context, if you're new to the program, Jai just come out last week of the closet.
Of the closet. Yep.
No, he's got a bit of head noise going on, and he if you want to have a listen to last week's podcast, probably the last 20 minutes. So if you want to have a listen there, it'll get in depth there. So we don't want to rehash
No,
deep
we won't.
all that stuff, but
No. No, but just a big thank you, because I think the more we talk about it, the better. Been to the shrink a couple of times, got diagnosed with the ADHD, to absolutely nobody's surprise there.
I'm a shrink.
And it was pretty good actually going back the second time, because I took the wife with me and that sort of thing. And I guess it was he gave the shrink a bit of context.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
easy for me to sit there and say stuff.
Mm.
But when he's hearing it from the better half or a parent or a loved one or something that's someone that's going through the whole scenario as well, it's probably easier for him to give get a clearer picture.
Yep.
So he basically said he probably jumped the gun a little bit, jumped on the antidepressants. It's probably secondary to the ADHD.
Yep.
So now it's just a bit of trial and error and see if we can't get some medication right and that sort of stuff. Blood pressure's through the roof, which doesn't help.
That's what we were talking about before. So let's go into how, because do you know what blood pressure is all about, Quinn?
No idea. Yeah. You hear it a lot.
Simple,
Yeah.
like layman's terms, it's just the amount of pressure that your heart creates to push blood around your system.
Mm.
That's all. It's that simple. So when you get your blood pressure, you get like your high number and your low number, your diastolic and your systolic pressures. So they always give you that. You know, the average healthy range, they reckon, is about that 120/80.
Yep.
Thereabouts. I'm sitting currently at rest at about somewhere between 150, 160 and 120 to 125,
Yep.
which is not amazing. That puts you at level 2 for kind of high range blood pressure. Any higher than that, and they'd really start to panic.
Yep.
So I'm on some blood pressure medication. And now that I think about it, that's probably been sitting in the background just through stress and all that sort of stuff for probably quite a period of time that I just didn't know or didn't care to acknowledge.
Yeah.
It's probably more the point, eh?
Is it like, because the Maoris, they like the boil up and the cook ups and that?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
it
man. And I've always
part of
been
that?
pretty conscious about the genetics that's floating around in me. Like, and that's just being realistic. That's not shitting on my culture, creed, or colour. That's just the way that it is,
Yep.
you know. And unfortunately, a heap of Polynesians have steered away from what would have been a traditional diet, and it's more so than the traditional diet with Polynesians. It's probably the amount of activity.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Mm.
You know, back in the day, they were paddling.
Yeah.
You know, thousands of miles across the open ocean
And had
and
to
that
hunt
sort of
for their
thing. They'd
food and
hunt
all
for
that
their
sort of
food, catch their food, all that sort of stuff. Now we're also sedentary. We've got it too easy now, so we don't have to keep active.
Like the other one, I was like, back before white man hit New Zealand, what were they hunting over there?
Oh, a lot of birds, a heap of seafood. That was kind of the
because there was
big
no
one.
like game sort of.
No,
over
not
there.
particular. Oh, there was one big bird that we used to have over there,
Rollers.
moa, they were
Moa,
called.
moa,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they reckon they were actually bigger than an ostrich. They were the
Yeah.
biggest land-based bird in the world. We ate them all.
I think the last
big
one
drumsticks.
was it the last one was like 1920 or something like that?
I'm pretty sure there is a photo. I'm not 100% sure on MO.
I've seen a picture
MOA.
of them. They're bloody huge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a photo taken of one once, but it was around the same time that they were all getting eaten out.
I was a fucking way out. 1920 is 1445.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Then no, I'm way off too. Yeah, completely.
Talking about the dodo bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week I think I see one.
Well, they're still chasing the moose around in the highlands of
Turn
New
your
Zealand.
Google off.
There's still a big community but down there that are chasing moose around and wapiti. They still think there's a few of them running around in the bush. So, yeah, that's probably a contributing factor is their obesity rate and all that sort of stuff. And so there's a lot of shitty kidney problems and blood pressure and cholesterol and it's in my family.
Yeah.
Like so many others. So I've always been pretty cautious of it. And, you know me, I don't eat too badly. I've got a bit of a sweet tooth that I've knocked on the head now. But food-wise, eat a fair bit of fruit. Don't eat rubbish. You know me, I love the fish, so I eat fish all the time and that sort of stuff and do our own beef and all that sort of thing. But I reckon it's probably more so stress-related
Yeah.
than anything else. You know, and the more you bottle it up and you don't have that outlet for it, the shittier it gets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just got to take some time and some steps to relax a little bit, try and find a little bit of peace and quiet. So I started on the ADHD meds.
Started on croc spotting.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
So I started on the ADHD meds a couple of days ago, and it's basically an upper. It's an amphetamine, a dexamphetamine.
And that's why me and you are going to be mates.
Yeah. You help me shelf it, I'll help you shelf it. But I didn't understand why they would give people with, you know, the attention span of a gnat an upper. Didn't make sense to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But after sitting down with a shrink and hearing him explain it, it just kind of takes away that head noise and that fog, and it gives you the ability to concentrate. Because at the moment, I concentrate on too much. You've been around me. You know what I mean? It takes absolutely nothing for me to break concentration on whatever it is that I'm doing. And I find that at home, like I'll start doing a job at home and I'll be walking past something else and I'll see something else that needs to be done. Oh, shit, and I'll start doing that. And then I'll need a tool to do that second job that I got distracted from the first job on. So I go to find a tool for that job and I see something else that needs it. Next thing you know, it's gotten to the end of the day and I've half completed 7 different fucking jobs and lost a dozen tools.
I think I've got
Bro.
ADHD. That's exactly what I fucking do.
Man, it is like it's a show. It's been a show.
My shed is the prime example of that. I walk down that shed every day to clean it or do something, and I walk in there, then I'll find something, and I'm oh shit, I didn't.
And you've just made more mess.
And then I just went and fixed that, and I'm like, I just don't want to pack all that shit up now. I'll just try to do something new.
Yeah. So you're having this ongoing battle in your head, of just trying to stay focused. So I've only been on this stuff for a couple of days, and he said you'll probably notice in the first couple of days. And I think I said to you just before when we were upstairs. Yesterday was the first day that I haven't looked for the negative and everything. I went through a whole day and I was mowing and you know, truth be told, my mowing time is just the time where I usually just end up fucking driving around circles crying most of the time. But I just drove around the house and just mowed some paddocks and that sort of stuff. And it just had some music on. Nothing kind of bothered me too much. Now, it might be placebo. It might be, you know, there might be something in it. But it's just, things were just a bit quieter in my head. Now, that's definitely not the antidepressants because they reckon they take kind of 6 to 8 weeks to start working.
Yeah.
And with any luck, I may even not be taking them in the next 4 weeks' time. I'm back to the shrink again in 4 weeks. And I may not even be taking them in the next 4 weeks because it's probably, like I said, it's probably secondary to the ADHD being the primary cause.
Yeah.
But you don't, when you go through it, life with something and you don't know about it, it just becomes the norm. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Head chaos, house chaos, shed chaos. It's just the norm. Just like, oh, fuck yeah, it is what it is. Just feel like you're constantly treading water. Not getting anywhere, not getting out of the fucking pool. Not drowning, but not getting out of the pool either. And it gets tired treading water, you know? So, Yeah, that's the go. And I'll tell you what's been probably the most pleasing part out of the whole scenario is the amount of blokes I've talked to in the last week.
Yeah. And I've seen the messages you got. From
Yeah, man.
people.
And even people we know here locally. Obviously not going to name names. But the amount of blokes that have gone, who'd you go and see? How did you go about it? And all that sort of stuff. Now I was lucky. The bloke I got in to see was, through a really good GP that I've got now. Few people have asked the cost. It's not cheap. You can go in the public system, but if you're not...
What's the value of your life?
Exactly.
That's what I see.
Exactly, man. That's right. We certainly couldn't afford, out-of-pocket expense of $700 or $800 each visit, but also can't afford the other option too.
No, it's way more expensive.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if anyone's got any questions, if anyone wants to ask, no expert in any way, shape or form, I'm not going to give you any advice. I'm just going to tell you what I've been doing.
Yeah,
and
that's the best way to do it.
It helps.
Yeah.
And if not, man, just ask, eh? Just ask. It's what you get in response to asking questions. Probably not going to be any worse than what you're already going through.
No.
Know what I mean? Anyway, that's all I've got to say on that.
And that was really good.
Now.
And another thing, just really proud of you for what you did last week. And it was good. And
had to do something, Russ.
That was really good.
Couldn't keep going the way we were going.
And we got a good crew behind us because the amount of people that sent messages, and DM and all that was really good.
Yeah, man, it was. Because they reckon 75% of suicides are men at the moment.
Yeah.
Can't keep going like that.
No,
we really can't.
We got to get the women back up there. Just jokes.
Is cancelled with 2 L's or 1? I'm just writing our next Facebook post.
I think the name of the show is "We Just Got Cancelled."
Oh, far out, dude.
We are not okay.
Obviously, that is a joke.
If this gets taken out of context,
Even I tried to grab that.
As it came out.
How do I mute him? Here, I'll turn him down. You're off. You're on ban now.
He's just sitting over there shaking his head. Like, oh no. It was a good run, boys.
We need one of those automatic sensors. Do you know what I mean? When it sees something coming to just straight away jump onto it. Anyway. What's new? What's going on? Talk to me.
What did I get up to, eh? What did I get up to? Went fishing yesterday.
Yeah, you did. How'd you go?
No barra, like the barra were around because I used a live scope and they were there, but they're just like, no, I don't like lures.
Too cold now,
Too cold. It was like, the water was 21 degrees.
Oh, was it?
It's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, it is.
For up here. And seen a few barras. So I took my young fella and his mate up the creek. And we went up a creek I've never been up before. And I said, just flick at that tree that's hanging in the water there. And he caught a nice jack, this young fella. And man, his... the way he carried on when he caught it.
Did he?
I have to play it.
A little bit excited.
Here it is here. Oh, just wait. Oh, start again.
All right. That's a jack. It's a nice jack too. Bring him in, mate. Pull him in. Holy fuck. That's a nice jack. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. What did I do?
What did I do?
That's a nice jack. Hey, well done, mate. Hey, well done. Fucking hell, it's my first fish of the year, mate. First fish ever. Yeah, fuck.
That's what I said. First fish ever.
Oh, that's the way, and that's
fun.
where it begins, and that's where people get hooked, man.
Oh, those two boys. There was more Snapchats coming out of that than some girl's vagina. Cancelled again.
Dude, what is wrong with you today? Stop.
He's on a roll.
Thank you, Great Northern.
Thank you, Great Northern. Would have been a good day though.
No,
the weather's beautiful at the moment.
There was actually, we were up the creek there because it's right near a road and you can hear the guy. But there was a boat. We backed down a ski boat in the water and I could hear it and I thought, it sounded like a jet ski. Like, you know when they're that highly tuned, those engines, like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a jet ski. And next when I heard it take off, I'm like, that's not a jet ski. And you hear it, when that,
Yeah. Yep.
and then he come back.
Yeah,
He would
right.
have been doing 150 on the water.
Really? Where was that? In the Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Anyone
he-
behind it?
No, he was just test driving it or something.
Just wasting fuel.
Because I got back when he was pulling out of the water. It's just a little ski boat, like a little cyclone looking ski boat. It's got Chaos written on it. So if anyone knows that boat, it's got Chaos something. I don't know if they've got a ski behind it or something. It's a greeny and black one.
Some of them go so fast.
Yeah.
Like you look at that Murray ski competition that they do, and they're pulling ridiculous speeds with two numbnuts behind them. You know, on a
And
bloody.
they go a fair way too up that river.
Oh, it's a huge race.
Have you seen the other one where I wanted to do it, where they go the tinnies and they put helmets on and they go up those creeks?
We went and watched one over in WA because they have one in West Australia every year down a creek over there. I can't for the life of me remember the name of the creek. And yeah, those little like Hornet style flat bottom punt type things.
And they got the follower up the front. He's shifting his weight.
Yeah,
And they,
just smashing props one after another.
and they go under those trees and they're just skimming hitting their heads just under
We
them
could
and that.
probably organise a pretty good one of them up here.
Yeah, you get hit
Except
by
for
a
the
croc.
crocodiles. Speaking of crocodiles, me and the missus took a walk the other afternoon with the dogs, just down from my place. And, that big bastard's back.
Yeah.
I showed you that. I'll post it up on our socials after we get yarning here. But I saw probably, I reckon he's about 4.5. I don't think he's 5, but he's definitely up around that 4.5 metre
Yeah,
mark.
just put one together and just
I'll snap 'em together.
couple
Yeah.
Little afternoon walk with
And
the
it
missus.
was only another half a K down the river. Seen another one that would have been close to 3, I reckon, in between 2.5 and 3. So you got two big crocs like that, damn near sitting side by side. I'm going to assume the big one's probably the male and the other one's probably a female.
That's the only way they could probably be that close.
That's what I reckon too. But I mean, it's a sign. Look, it's a sign of a really healthy ecosystem. But on the same hand, that amount of big crocs piled up on top of each other, I think at some stage, I know Uncle Bobby Catter and Bob Irwin were getting stuck into each other, Battle of the Bobs. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And they were flinging jibes at each other and all that sort of stuff. I do think it's getting to the point where we might have to start knocking a few on the head.
The thing is, where our Eddie Bay Surf Life Saving Club is, that's predominantly known as you can go there for a swim. It's getting to the point where you send your kids to the water now. You're keeping your eyes on the water just to make sure no fucking crocs come. And I know that when they have carnivals and that, they put up a drone. They've got paid by Surf Life Saving Queensland, paid for the drone so they can fly up and just search for crocs before they send the kids out for a swim.
We tend not to swim down there unless it's clean now.
Mm.
So you can at least see a dark shadow coming across because it's all sandy bottom down there. So you're going to recognise a moving rock under the water.
And I surf a bit down there. It's sort of, when it's rough, you sort of are probably a bit safer with crocs and stuff like that.
Well, they can't zone in on you when it's rough like that,
But it's still not a good feeling because you're out there on your own most of the time.
Yeah,
in
that's right.
Mud, water, pretty much.
Yeah. There's just too many of them. There is. Well, whether they shoot them, trap them, remove them, whatever. I don't think they could even trap and remove enough. That's the problem to make it safe because it's just getting way out of hand. I mean, they're down on Fraser Island for crying out loud. But I've said it for ages. Once they start swimming up the Brisbane River, watch how quick they start putting bullets in them then.
I watched the coffee break. They're up at Princess Charlotte Bay, that Bathurst Bay actually. On their latest episode, they end up at the Flinders Islands, and where he pulled up on the beach, as they pulled into Bathurst Bay, you can see the nice. You should watch it because it shows the landscape there, how beautiful it is of those big boulder, it's like the black rocks at Cooktown, but they're sort of white rocks.
Yep.
Is the opposite. They must have threw at them. They had the two giants were thrown, and they threw. That's the overthrow.
Maybe they're just playing marbles. All the black ones had to go over here, and all the white ones had to go over there.
But to look at that landscape, there's no landscape like it. These 20-ton boulders are just stacked on top of each other for probably 500 meters high, sort of thing. They're fucking awesome. And they pull into the beach, and there's a 4-meter croc just cruising to the water and right where they pull into the beach. All along there, that's where I've speared.
Really? Have you?
I speared all along there when I was a young fella.
Yeah, right.
Speared and crayfish and that.
I can't talk. I've speared a few spots up the Cape that in hindsight, I think, you flog. Like, honestly.
And that's exactly where that fella got bitten in the tent when they were camping in the tent.
When was that?
If you go on GT Buster's page,
Yeah.
he actually did a not sort of like a little documentary on what actually happened.
Yeah, true.
And the croc come out of the water, up, and they thought, because like 4 a.m, went round the tent, pretty much smashed. He woke up and he just seen this croc just lunge at him through the fly screen in the tent. And it was a 4.5 meter croc.
Far
And it lunged and went over the top of the baby and grabbed the dad. And then a follower come from another tent and had to fucking shoot it with a handgun, yeah.
Wow.
Shot it in the middle of his tent.
And that's the thing. There's just so many of them now.
And I was like, nice beard there. Like that, when that happened, probably 5 years before that.
Far out. But you see some of the footage, like we think we've got it bad here. You see some of the footage from the Territory. Some of the rivers up in the Territory, like when they fly choppers over it and that sort of stuff, and you see them on the sandbanks.
Yeah,
and it's not one or two. It's
1 or
30,
200.
40, 50, all the way down the same sandbar. And a vast majority of them are well-built crocs, like 2 meters plus. And once you start getting over 2 meters, like that's a genuine concern for a human.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a fight with a 2 meter crocodile. You're really not. Like you might not die, but
You
you're
wouldn't
going to
even
get hurt.
smile at him. Press that cricket button over there.
Don't worry. Everyone's got their own crickets.
Well, is there a cancel button? We need to get a cancel button.
We needed that 10 minutes ago. So what else is cracking?
Oh, I might have to go back through and edit that last one.
No.
No, the one before.
Oh, yeah. No, you might. How's farm life going, all right?
Yeah, we've been, like I say, every week, we've been busy, eh?
Flat out?
Yeah, pretty flat out.
How's your staff going?
Yeah, I had a I had a phone call.
Keeping you on your toes?
Where's that cancel button?
yeah. Be very careful, bro. let's tread a fine line right now. Away you go.
All right, let me think about it.
How am I going to word this?
Well, I had the boys, and I just pretty much said to them, instead of sending out real Vanuatuans, they send out retards or what? What's going on? Like, for real?
Now,
there's that cancel button.
Yeah. I'm going to jump in and defend the boys, because I don't think it's limited to just your industry right now. I reckon everyone you speak to is just having the hardest time finding decent staff.
And
staff that want to work, staff that can take direction.
That's the part.
It is, man.
You say something, like I said to them, go to that paddock over there with the 4 and 4 rows. We cut each side. There's only one row in that whole paddock.
Yep.
And they're like, yep. And I said, you've all heard that? Yep. They're all like, yes, boss, we on. Don't worry, we're right. Go over there. They're not even anywhere near that paddock, and they're right up the other end cutting. And I'm just like, that's when I sent you a message, and I'm just like, fuck me.
They're on the farm next door cutting cane. But it's everywhere at the moment. Everyone you speak to, like it's just, I don't know what it is. That's the real epidemic in the country at the moment. If you're out there and you're listening and you've got any really good incompetent staff stories, we don't want names. You don't have to put names attached to these stories, okay? Maybe a photo. Definitely a photo of the fallout. Like, I want to see the fallout from the fuck up that your staff has done, okay? That's what we want to see. Send those in. Hit us up on the Insta, the TikTok, the thick cock, whatever you want to do.
I've started it.
He started it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Follow through.
I put a video up the other day, and I said, I'm just going to go through. I'm going to give away one of my hats. This hat here, I'm probably going to give away next week.
Yep.
And I'm going to for just the worker of the week out of the boys.
Yeah.
And because they love country trucker hat caps, those boys.
Did they?
Because I gave old mate that hat. The next day he didn't wear it. I said, where is it? He goes, it's in my bag, ready for home. He's taking it home.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so and I went through them, and I pretty much said, I'm going to give away a hat each week. And I said, but I'm also going to point out why the rest of you didn't get one. So I went through the whole crew and told them exactly why they didn't get that hat, and that I followed it.
And if they tie, you got to make them fight for the hat.
Yeah.
Or pillow fight.
With cane knives.
Oh, Jesus, calm down. Far out. But yeah, if anyone's out there that's got any good ones, and no apprentices, go easy on your apprentices. All right, it's not their fault. It's chromosomal. That's why they keep getting things wrong.
I went fishing with those two boys yesterday.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much exact. I thought my son was the only spastic in this world. No, the other fellow was exactly the same. With that cancel button.
Dude, what is wrong with you today?
So I see the positive in everything.
Oh, yeah. Far
Must
out.
be those drugs I'm on. You started it.
I didn't start it. Don't pin your bullshit on me.
Back in time out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the joys of being best friends. His bullshit is my bullshit, and my bullshit is your bullshit.
Yeah, so so we'll step away from that.
Yeah, I think we might need to find we might need to find a better angle. Can you think of one?
A few moments later.
A few moments later. We might need to find a better angle. Can you think of one?
I got pretty much like right angle
The
cabinets.
right angle. That's exactly one.
Yeah.
Mark and the crew
They know what to do.
servicing all the cans.
And the rest of NQ.
Located in Gordonvale.
North of Innisfail.
Their cabinets are off the rail.
Yeah, all the prices could be on sale.
So if you want a bitchin' kitchen,
Or just flex with a desk
see Mark and the crew.
and they'll sort the
They
rest.
absolutely west.
So-
Absolutely west. Yep.
Right angle cabinets up in Gordonvale. www.rightanglecabinets.com.au.
Cabinet maker extraordinaire and keen barra fisherman.
Yeah, he's
Go and see Mark and the boys.
going to come down and help me with my life scope. He reckons.
Oh, really?
He reckons he's got a dog.
Yeah, I think I was
Got it
talking to him
dialed
about
in.
it not long ago. He's got it pretty nailed.
Because
now,
you know,
eh?
I said there's reef fishermen and then there's barra fishermen. So
Yeah.
he's on the barra fisherman spectrum.
Yeah.
Oh, Marky.
But you're dead set right though. It seems to be.
Yeah, they're on the
wonder
spectrum,
how-
those fellas.
I wonder how that live scope stuff would work on
Yeah,
the
that Mark.
I wonder how that live scope stuff would work on the reef.
Nah, it'd be too much going on.
Too much going on, you
Yeah,
reckon?
Definitely. And yeah, just too much structure.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The more like best place to use them is like on the flats.
Yep.
Like when barra are on the flats.
Yep.
You can just, because there's just nothing around there, you can just see the actual fish.
And you can pick out the individual
Yeah,
lumps
'cause
and
you have
bumps.
perspective mode and then you have whatever the other mode is.
Yep.
So one's like a radar looking down
Mm.
and the other one's like looking sideways through the water column. So if you put it horizontally,
Yeah.
you'll see like a radar
Okay. Yeah.
and you'll see probably 140 degrees
Oh wow, true.
and it's sort of out at that angle.
Yep.
And then you can up to 50 meters off your boat.
Oh,
if you want
really?
to. Yeah, you can like, I
What
don't know.
kind of depth can you work them in? Or do you
Well-
have to turn it the other way for the depth?
Well, it works pretty much. You can tilt it forward or back. So if you're not seeing anything, you just tilt it a bit forward down, and then you'll
It'll go down in the water column more.
just down the water column more sort
Yeah,
of thing.
okay.
But with and then when you put it vertically, you go into I don't even know the name of them. All these barra fishermen out there going right now.
You're as spastic as your son. It's genetic.
So yeah, if you put them horizontally, vertically, you'll see like pretty much a side chop from your boat to the snag or whatever. You can see from the
Okay.
top of the water to the bottom.
Yeah, all
but
right.
you'll only see it'll be like a straight line.
Yep.
So if you can't see anything, you'll have to keep turning it till you spot something.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Is it pretty good?
Yeah,
now
it
that you've
is.
had a bit of a play with
Yeah,
it?
it is.
You reckon?
It's worthwhile using.
Yeah, okay.
Especially, I still want to get out in the flats and give it a go because I reckon that's where it'll shine really well.
Yeah. Yep.
There's some spots I'd like to try, just like pretty much up in the Gulf is. I reckon that would just be perfect up there for that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you could even chase all your grunter and everything like that.
Or anything, can't you?
Mm,
In your
up
spot
in
where
those
it
flats,
is.
Yeah. Just-
Isn't it funny? We've talked about, probably haven't talked about it on here much. Isn't it funny how everyone's kind of mindset towards chasing barra and estuarine fishing has changed so much now? Everyone used to be, snags and rocks and it's got to be here and they're hidden under there and all that sort of stuff. But how much do these big predatory fish spend going up right out in the open,
and that's pretty
up
much
on the flats, pushing up with the
Yeah.
tide, smashing all the bait, that sort of thing?
And most of them just they like to hang out with each other as well.
Yeah.
And there's like probably 10 usually just hanging out, just in a big group and
And
just lays off each other.
you were in the seafood shop the other week. And
Mm.
what'd you see in there in a bucket?
I've seen some king salmon,
Yeah, big threadfin.
and I've never seen them locally. I've never caught one locally.
Oh, I've seen a few caught like up Cairns Way and that sort of stuff, but not the big monsters that you
Yeah.
see coming out of the Brisbane River and the Fitzroy River, and then you go up the Gulf and that sort of stuff, and there's big monsters swimming around up there.
Mm.
But-
Did we talk about this on here?
Did
Or
we?
Was it,
No, it was
No, I
before.
don't think we did.
Was
I
it
think we
before,
talked-
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, because they actually had them in there, and I was like, "Oh, where'd you get these from the Gulf?" And he goes, "No, they're from out the front here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Fuck off!"
and how big were they?
They were about 1.4, I reckon.
Really?
They were huge.
Far out.
Mm.
And I'll
Like,
tell you
way
what,
bigger than them, any of those ones.
and they're
they
not a
were in
bad
it.
table fish, eh?
This
They're
is how
a
big
good
they were.
eating
They were in,
fish,
you know,
man.
those just the garbage bins,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
the normal Garbo bins,
Yeah,
whatever.
the black ones.
And there would have been another 500 out of that.
Wow.
There,
They got massive tails on them, eh, those things. They blew so hard when you hook them.
probably that size.
Yeah,
that fella's
right.
got there. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they were huge.
And like I said, for an estuarine fish, because a lot of your estuarine fish end up being a little bit muddy. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But they don't seem to get it, eh?
No, I think they're an acquired sort of taste. Lots people either like them or hate them, sort
Really?
of thing. They're a bit more fishier
Fishy,
taste, but
yeah.
they're a good fish and chip
Fish.
like a good battered fish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind them at all. I like them a lot more than the blue salmon.
No,
That's for
blues
sure.
are fucking shit.
Blues are horrible.
You can eat them
Cat
that
food.
day and that's it.
Yep, yep. Mother-in-law fish.
There.
Wicked. Good to know they're out
Yeah,
there.
so yeah, because I was like, shit, we should actually probably go out and try chase them if they're out there.
Yeah.
But you have to get like, because we get the swell over this side, you have to get the days when it's flat out there,
In
sort of
between.
thing.
In
Yeah,
between.
and if it's flat, guess where you're going?
Yeah.
You're
We
on a
do,
fucking-
don't
You're
we?
on a Great Barrier Reef.
We're just going to duck outside the river mouth. Oh, it's a bit flat. Should we keep going? Yep.
That's what we did. We do that all the time.
I've already got my wetsuit on.
I don't think we should go. The wetsuit's going over the top of your head.
That's exactly right. So, pub ammo, right? The reason we kind of kicked this all off was just to talk copious amounts of shit and sink piss with our mates when no one's looking. But we also wanted to give a little bit of education, didn't we? That was the whole idea.
Mm.
So we like to find random useless facts that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Could be rumor, could be hearsay, and I reckon at least 30% of them are probably true. So have you got any this week? What have you dragged up?
What have
You
I
got
got?
fuck all, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I got a bit, but I had to
Yeah.
look
Okay.
about 5 minutes ago.
All right, I got one for you. So my little fella had his athletics carnival this week.
And what did he do when he went across the finish line?
If you're looking for next to the word cocky in the dictionary, it'll be my kid next to it. Because he can motor and he is quite the little athlete, but he's also a big fish in a little pond. Like his
Yeah.
school's 200 kids total. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, but you can't knock him down too much. So,
when I seen the footage of him, then I thought, is he running his own race?
yeah,
There's
no,
no one in it.
he did. He was going all right. But when he ran the 100 though, because his mum, me and his mum were sitting on the sideline watching and all that sort of stuff, and he'd already won everything. And as he's coming down, he got to about halfway, and he just did the old drive and stare. You know, they're at a Fast and Furious, the stare and drive or whatever it is. So as he's sprinting the last 50, he nearly maintained eye contact with his mum the whole way down the 50, just smiling away, this big grin on his face. And anyway, he come up to me afterwards, and he was walking past, and I said, "Oi, well done," and gave him a high five. And I said, "But oi, don't do that again." I said, "Don't do that again." I said, "You be humble, all right?" And he went, "Yeah, okay." Had a chuckle and off he went. I said, "Okay." Anyway, his
Off
teacher,
he went to the 200.
Yeah, right.
his teacher was standing right next to me, and she goes, "You okay, Dad?" And I said, "Yeah, look, I'm okay." I said, "But I don't mind confident." I said, "I just don't like cocky." I said, "That's not cool. That's not a good trait." And she goes, "That's going well for you, isn't it?" I said, "I'm trying." She said, "So am I." I said, the problem is he pushes you to like breaking point, and then once you're on the verge of breaking, he just winds it back like just enough. And she goes, "Yep." He'll come up to me when he knows I'm at the wit's end. He'll come up next to me and he'll go, "Oh, miss, is there anything I can do for you? Can I put stuff away for you, miss? How can I help you, miss?" And then she goes, and then an hour later, I need a scotch. Yeah.
And
So-
that's at Smoko.
Yeah, that's at Smoko. That's 10 o'clock in the morning. So, foot race facts. And this is where a couple of like terms that we come starting from scratch. You heard that one, eh?
I don't know where it comes from.
So way back in the day when they used to have foot races, and what's even more alarming is when they used to do these foot races, the blokes were dressed up in, you know how they used to dress back in Victorian
Yeah.
days with their tight pants and their waistcoats and all. They used to run in that shit. In their little leather shoes and stuff like that. But before they started the race, someone would scratch a line in the ground,
Oh, yeah.
starting from scratch. That's where it comes from. And another one, drop of a hat. Starting at the drop of a hat.
That's my guess. They would.
So if
drop ahead, yeah.
the starter would be at the other end of the thing and they'd be lined up, starting from scratch.
Yep.
And when he dropped the hat, off you went.
Yeah, because the good thing is sound. That's why you see in the high schools and that when they used to do it, they used to put a chalkboard behind the gun, so when it would fire, they could see the smoke come out of the gun because the time would be another half a second before it got
That's
to you.
exactly right.
And then when
'Cause
they
you'd
did
see
that,
the smoke before you'd hear the noise.
pretty
It's
cool, eh?
interesting at top level too. I was showing the boys this morning how much emphasis those like top level sprinters and collegiate sprinters put on reflexes and timing, like reaction time.
Yeah.
And you'll watch when there's like one at that level, at those really high levels, including Olympics, they'll have, a race about to start, and then they'll have another heat lined up behind them. And you'll actually see the heat behind them when they're going through the heat in front is going through their process. The guys will be standing behind, or athletes, I should say, will be standing behind them, and they'll kind of just be like that. And when they hear the gun, they'll like that. They'll just do a really quick jerk to just start switching their body on and that sort of thing.
Turn the nervous system.
Yeah. They do all that sort of stuff. It's pretty interesting for us slow people.
Oh, we used to be able to run
Used
back
to.
in the old days.
I ran. Here's the kicker. I ran in the parents relay at the end. Now, look, used to be able to run. Was also 84 kilos back then. It's a lot harder running at 100 kilograms. Like both my knees are sore, not injured, just sore. You know what from? Impact. Impact. The 80 kilos just going down on top of them. I say 80 because there's probably 20.
You
below
had
the
an
knees.
impact lunch.
Oh, mate. It was really bad. It took me like when I first started running, I thought I was going to fall on my face. I did. I was like, legs, what are you doing?
You're
Come
not
on,
keeping up.
let's go. The last 50 was okay. I came home strong, but the first 50 was a disaster. So he must have got the speed from his mum.
Yeah.
That's what I reckon anyway. That's a story I'm sticking to.
That's when your kids get caught with drugs.
Yeah.
He got the speed from his mum.
Depending on which park they want to come from, which trailer park.
So I got one.
Yeah, go shoot.
There's a lake over in, I think it's Greece somewhere, called Lake Albano.
Albano.
And it's a volcanic lake.
Yeah.
And the Romans, they to drain it, they actually, so it wouldn't overflow and drown the town around it.
Yeah.
When it floods, they dug a hole through it, 1.5 kilometres long. It's written up there somewhere.
Really?
And so they could drain the crater. And it's probably, and it's just so they could actually,
Like a tunnel?
dug a tunnel through the hill.
No shit.
And you know how they actually dug the tunnel?
Yeah. Drainage tunnel.
They
395 BC. Holy, yeah, okay. Go.
They because it's 1.5 kilometers long, and they started digging. And they thought, shit, we've got to start from the other side as well, otherwise we'll never get this done. So they can meet in the middle.
Yeah.
So how do you reckon they could line both tunnels up so they exactly line up?
Oh, no way.
So when they dug it, they dug in at one side and in the other side, and they used the sunlight, and they dug like a S bend in it, like more than an S, just with an extra S.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And when the sun shined through it, it created a line so they could follow that line. And
Really?
and when it shone on the wall, that's where they actually had to dig.
That's pretty
And
clever.
that's
eh?
how they did it. Pretty smart, eh? And then they did that from the other side. They used the moon. Nah.
So they reckon that, and that's another thing with the because that's basically just surveying, isn't it? But like a lunar or a solar surveying,
solar surveying,
isn't it? That's cool. Because they reckon that's how. And look, there's plenty of arguments about how they started they built the pyramids. But they reckon the Egyptians were one of the first group of people to use surveying. Because if you run a straight line out from each axis of the pyramid, each end of the pyramid, and you go out certain distances, there's these holes that are carved into the ground. They're about 150 mil deep. And they're in exactly the same kind of spots off the each end. And they reckon they were survey marks.
Yep.
And that's how they would have calculated how much to go up and all that sort of thing. That sure as shit doesn't explain how they removed 2 million rocks in the space of whatever it was.
Have you heard the Joe Rogan episode with that? We're talking about that old gatekeeper, the old follower on there that in Egypt that you can probably, he's the archaeologist gatekeeper. And he's just
the one that doesn't want any
change. He's so fueled by his ego and all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Every time Joe would mention something, he'd just spin the story around back to him sort of thing.
Yeah, okay.
And then Joe pretty much said after, and if you listen to it, you're just like, fuck, and you were actually yelling at it, going like, mate,
you're full of shit.
Yeah, so he went on there and pretty much showed the world that he's full of shit.
Wow, true.
So
I haven't seen that episode yet.
He's only was on there about a month or two ago.
Oh, I'm going to have to give that a listen.
Yeah, and when you listen to it, you can just like, fuck, yeah. And then I heard Joe talk to a couple other people after it, and he's like, yep, there was aliens. I believe in aliens now.
Oh, look, and that's the thing. Like every argument you hear for how it was done, it's just not feasible.
No, and this fella's like, oh, I can move rocks like, they're like 20-ton cap rocks on top of tombs and stuff. And he goes, I can show you, I know how to move them, and I got a crew that can do it. And he goes, well, how do you do it? And he goes, oh, I got a crew that can do it. But and he's like, how do you do it? Oh, just a bit of maneuvering with a couple of things and you can do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, but how do you do it? He wouldn't fucking tell him.
Yeah. See, I've seen a few. There was one bloke that did some demonstrations with some big sandstone blocks. Yeah. You know what I mean? And using little pieces of triangular wood to make them roll. And it's completely feasible, like all that sort of stuff.
Zal Hawass.
Zal Abbas Hawass.
Zahi.
Zahi Abbas Hawass. There you go. And they get the rocks to move and all that sort of stuff. But that's like a half a ton piece of sandstone. Yeah. That's not a 20-ton piece of sandstone.
From 500 kilometres away.
And some of those other ones are like 70 or 80 tons, some of the big rocks.
Yeah.
But no. We can't move that shit today.
No.
So, yeah. Anyway. All right, I've got another one for you. So, like, phrases. I like the phrases. They're pretty cool, the ones we come up with. So, back in 1837, right, going back a fair while now, there was a in a little English town called Melton Mowbray, I think.
Melton Mango.
Melton Mango, you idiot. No, Melton Mowbray. Mowbray. There we go. There was this lord, and his name was Lord Waterford, and him and his mates went on this like proper bender, like just getting smashed, as you do. And for a reason unknown to everybody except his mates, they went around breaking windows. But they just went on a bit of a riot, you know what I mean? And they thought it'd be funny to paint people's doors red. And that's where the saying comes from, to paint the town red. From this one dude back in 1835. Hey? How much of a bender did you go on that 200 years later people are still talking about it? Like, that must have been a piss up of biblical proportions.
That might be with the pub MO cancelled.
It might be.
After today's episode.
Hey? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What else? Hang on, let me flick through here.
So I've got one here.
Yeah, shoot.
There was a train that was invented. I'll have to go down. It's the Brennan monorail train.
Yeah.
And it defies the laws of physics. They actually, it's it there.
Yeah.
It's actually a single.
Gyro?
It's a single wheel train, but it runs because it's got a gyro each side of the train, and each carriage. So when it runs, it actually has a gyroscope that spins and keeps it standing upright. But I'm like, when that pulls up,
what happens then?
It does just fall over. They'd have to
It's because it's got to be in motion to work, doesn't it?
Because they probably have to, unless they've got something that makes it spin the whole time to make it keep standing.
No, they probably would have built special kind of what do you call them?
Like a
stations.
Ramp. Yeah, but you think if it pulls up, mid-track.
Oh, it's on
It's
its
just going to
side.
roll.
It's on its
But-
kickstand.
Yeah.
Kickstand.
Kickstand.
The biggest kickstand you've ever seen.
But yeah, if you want to have a look at it, it's a pretty weird looking thing, eh? And it the passengers and that could move around the train, and it would automatically adjust to keep them level.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy how it worked. And they said the only reason why it didn't take off because it needed a gyroscope in every
In every carriage.
and that's where the cost would be.
Just blow out.
Mm.
Still pretty cool though.
But you think you're half the track, you only got to put half the track up. There's only one train, one.
But does half the
rail.
track equate to a gyroscope in every thing? Probably not.
I don't know, probably if you go like the length of the how many train tracks are in this world.
Yeah, maybe. Could you then run to, oh no, it wouldn't be wide enough. If you made two skinny ones, you could run one running each way on the same track.
They'll just run into each other.
We've just doubled the world's train capabilities.
But they want to learn to dodge each other a metre apart.
All right, I've got one. And this is for you, big fella, because I think sometimes everyone listening at home is like, oh, for the love of God, will this cunt put a sock in it? You know where the term come from? Putting a sock in it.
I thought you were talking to him. I'm looking at him like, yep. Yep, you get ready for this.
You talk too much.
So back in the day when they used to have those the original Gamma phones, they were called. You know, you used to play your records on them and that sort of
Yep.
stuff. I don't think they were even records back then. They used to read like a paper sheet or something that used to go around. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It was something along those lines. But back in the day, they had no volume control. You couldn't turn them up and down. It was
Yep.
just a one noise. So when it was too loud and it was
Just
giving
put a
people the
sock
shit,
in it.
they used to put a sock down inside the big speaker trumpet thing. Yeah. And knock it on the head a little bit. There you go. You like that one?
Old phone.
I thought you'd like that.
Your typing skills worse than mine.
No, I'm just trying to think of what it's called.
Old gramophone, isn't it? That's what they were called. You said gamma. You're the
Did
gammon ones.
I say gramophone? Did I? Sorry, gramophone. My bad.
That's it there. When my lady goes a little
Yeah, that's the one. Those things. Yeah, and some of them played like once vinyl
Yeah,
came
you
out,
used to
they
like
played vinyl, but there wasn't.
Wind it.
The original ones didn't play vinyl. I'm sure they had.
Hey.
It was like a tube that they used to put in,
Yeah,
and it was
it's
an
a-
indentation on the tube.
was actually
I'm pretty
brass.
Sure. Was it?
Brass, I'm pretty sure they were made out of.
Yeah. And the needle would just bounce up and down on the things and make the worst music you've ever heard in your life. I'm so glad we've come further than that. Because have you ever listened to it?
Yeah.
It was atrocious. There's no way.
And that would have been like, oh, this is just music to my ears. This is so beautiful.
There's no way you could jam up with your missus to that in the club.
Wouldn't have heard it in stereo anyway.
What else you got? Got any more?
So I've got another one here. All right. So we'll have a look at this one.
Mhm.
This one is the Koenigsegg. Had you the car?
Koenigsegg?
Koenigsegg Dark Matter engine. It's the car, the Koenigsegg.
It is, yeah.
It's one of the fastest cars ever
I
invented.
think it's second fastest car on the planet ever.
Yeah. And it got beaten because of why?
So there's always that rivalry between the supercars. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Lamborghini, Ferrari, all that sort of stuff. So it's well known that Bugatti has like the speed record for a production car in there. I think it's called a Chiron or something like that.
Yeah.
And the thing has a W16 quad turboed engine. So they basically just strapped two V8s side by side and then whacked four turbos or one turbo on each head. Like, who comes up with this shit? And it had the record for a long time. And I think the record was just a shade over 400 kilometres an hour, which is absurd, completely absurd. And then Koenigsegg came up with this thing.
This dark matter engine.
Yeah, some sort of freaked out
So-
kind of electric engine. Oh,
What I've read, it can make up to 800 horsepower and it's only 86 pounds. So what's that, 50 kilos or something? It's 2.2 in it.
weight 39 kilograms.
39 kilos. 800
Wow.
horsepower.
In-house dark matter e-motor. So it's electric.
Yeah, it's electric. Yep.
Okay. Max motor RPM, 8,500.
It's 1200
12
newton meters, 1250
Far
newton
out.
meters.
That's nuts. Dimensions. 38 centimetres by 38 centimetres by
Boy.
13 centimetres.
So
Whack it in a motorbike.
yeah, it's like that big. You can put it in a motorbike.
You
easy.
could put it in a motorbike, get a Ducati, rip the engine out of it, and put that bastard, and then go to the moon.
That's it there.
Wow, that's crazy.
It looks like a
talk.
weight that you put
It
on
does,
that you
doesn't it?
bench with.
Deadlift, yeah.
That's if you're thinking of what it would look like. That's what it looks like, a deadlift. weight.
This engine managed to get them the production car speed record for about a month because Bugatti, being assholes, just went back and all they did was wind the boost up on their turbos a little bit more, and they took the speed record back. I'm
Blew a
not
few
sure.
engines, but they
I'm not
got it.
sure what it is now. What is the? Check it out. What is it? Bugatti Chiron. It is. Yep. 490.484 kilometers an hour. Jesus.
So not far off 500.
304 miles an hour. That is insane. That is insane. Yeah, what is the speed of sound? Oh, no, they're a long way off that yet. 343, 760 miles an hour. Yeah. They're a fair way off that yet. But for a car. And I watched this really interesting thing talking about that Bugatti, and they talk about like how quick it goes and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, it carries X amount of fuel, and if you're traveling at that like top speed, you're out of fuel in like 6 minutes or something absurd like that. It's your fuel's gone. Do you know what I mean?
And it's 200 litres of fuel.
But they reckon they've done that on purpose because the tyres are only good for about 2 minutes more than that. So they make sure it runs out of fuel at that speed before the tyres just disintegrate into nothing because they go that fast. Like what? Yeah. What's the price tag on one of those things?
On the engine or the car?
No, on one of those Bugatti Chirons. Because I feel like you couldn't even buy that in Australia. I doubt they're for sale in Australia at all. There it is, price. What do they got? $5.7 million Australian.
Bloody hell.
Far out, man.
Just for a car.
We're getting a bit exorbitant now, aren't we? Hey? Look at that.
Oh,
That's a
yeah,
weapon of
it's
a
a
car.
beautiful car.
Look at that thing, man.
If you
Far
rocked
out.
up in that, I'd go and sell it and buy a house.
What I like
Or
is
station, go and buy a station.
there was a period, I guess, when we grew up and we looked at supercars and all the lines were like sharp and pointy and all that sort of stuff, like the Lambos, the Ferraris, you know what I mean? But now they look at it and they're more rounded
Yep.
to get the downforce and that sort of thing.
What was that noise?
I don't know.
Was that
Someone
off
knocking on the door, bro.
Riverside? Because it went through these.
All right. What else you got? You got anything else? I've got one more.
I've got a couple more, yeah.
Okay. All right. I got one more. Back in the day, Roman times. So we're going to go back to Roman times. Now it's the same time they dug that hole through that
digging
tunnel through the
through a
thing.
hill.
There we go. Okay. Well, they would have had to have a vote about, if they should dig that hole and all that sort of stuff. So back in the day, it was kind of the first form of political kind of voting and democracy was back in the Roman times.
And they put the marbles in it.
Beans.
Thing?
They were
yeah.
beans. Yeah. So they'd have two different coloured beans.
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4 different coloured beans, depending on how many people were getting voted for and what the topic was. And they'd put them into big barrels. Do you know what I mean? And at the end, they'd count them. But there became a bit of a thing when people didn't want the vote to get through. They'd push them over.
Yeah.
And then all the beans would get mixed up.
Oh, spill the beans.
Spill the beans. There you go. Look at that. Hey?
But then it's probably where bean counter come from.
It could be.
Yeah, the
Bean
old,
counter.
Yeah.
It would be.
You're a bit of a bean counter.
A bit of a bean
person who
counter.
works in the accountants.
The accountant.
Yeah.
The bloke that breaks your heart every tax time.
Not if you got a dodgy one.
Yeah, well, they're the best kind. They're the best kind. All right. Shoot.
So what's this other one here I got? Oh, we were talking about it last week actually about the how the plane supposedly hit the what's the bloody Parliament building in New York?
The Pentagon.
Pentagon?
Yes.
Yes, that one.
Yep.
So it hit that job.
Yep.
But they said that I think you said it. The engines they're 5 ton each.
Yes.
And they said with the fuel and the engines and I think this was over 12 ton of fuel,
jet fuel.
and the engines.
Yep. And the
they said-
fuselage and all that, everything
And
else.
they said completely disintegrated on site. But they found DNA and they could match everyone on site.
They found passports.
He said they said
Like,
within
honestly.
within a couple of days, they had trucks in there and they were dropping
Covering it
dirt over the whole place and hiding pretty much everything.
And I'll throw this one out there because if no one's, we talked about this quickly and I'm not going to turn it into a political thing. There's a shit show over in the Middle East now. Israel bond Iran, Iran's bond Israel. They're all chucking sticks and stones at each other and all that
And
sort of
then
stuff.
this is on a Sunday at the moment, so it might
This
be
is
some
Sunday,
more
so
before this comes out.
Oh
too.
yeah, there will be. I think Iran's thrown like 2,000 missiles so far in the space of 48 hours. So like it's on like Donkey Kong.
Yep.
It's I wouldn't say it's a world war, but it's getting bloody close.
Mm.
Anyway, one of the senators or minister for defense for the states has come out and he's gone on the front foot straight away. Oh, we have to be vigilant in America because we could expect terrorist attacks in America. Guarantee it. You watch. In the next week, there'll be some sort of terrorist attack in America and they'll go, that's our excuse to go and start a punch on.
Yep.
They do it all the time.
Mm.
They do it all the fucking time.
Well, they said remember the last time they started a war, they were searching for, what were they searching for? Weapons of...
Uncle Saddam had them. What were they?
Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And apparently they said Iran might have weapons of mass destruction. Is that all sounding a
It
bit...
sounds familiar, doesn't it, brother?
Couldn't you change your words or something?
But a particular bloke has actually been peddling that story around the globe since 1992. Benjamin Netanyahu. He's been saying, it's 2 years they're going to have him, and then 2 years goes past. 3 years they're going to have him. So since 1992, this bloke's been saying that they're going to have weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing to Afghanistan. He did the same thing to Iraq. So, maybe we need to have a bit of a closer look at who the real shit stirrer is. The same playbook.
And you're like, we're so dumb, we're believing it.
I know. It's frustrating. And the gutless prick flew to Greece as soon as everything kicked off. He threw the bombs into Iran first and started the shit and then bailed. Pussy. Speaking of dudes that bailed out of planes, though, did you see the plane crash over in India?
I've seen it, but I didn't know.
Whoa. Whoa.
It landed into a hospital too, didn't it?
Bro.
With doctors. A university with doctors.
Yeah, so there was like 260 people on board and like, here's the kicker. I don't know if you've heard this yet. One dude survived.
But how did he survive?
I'm not sure. Have they come up with how he survived yet? I think he was an 11A. Yeah.
Everyone's getting that seat.
Everyone's booking 11A from now on. But like, you saw, there's footage of this plane going down, and then there's this massive fireball goes up into the air.
And if he's in that, how the fuck could we survive that?
How did he walk out of that, bro? Next to an emergency exit, and the plane broke in half.
So he must have got thrown somehow and just landed somewhere.
So yeah,
soft.
all right. So he the passenger found himself in the front half while the rear caught on fire. He then walked from the wreckage. I can't. That is mind-blowing.
Holy shit.
Mind-blowing, cuz. The only other one I've heard that is probably up there with that was the little girl in the Amazon years and years ago. Did you ever hear about that one? So this plane, it was flying across the top of the Amazon rainforest. It broke up. Something happened to the plane and it all fell apart mid-flight, like in air at altitude. And this little girl fell. And they seem to think that the tree canopy of the Amazon jungle broke her fall, and she lived. She then survived for 12 days. There you go. How long did she survive? 1971, flight 508 from Lima to Peru. It was struck by lightning. Fell through the air, and she was the only survivor. Broken collarbone. That was
She
it.
fell 3 kilometers out of the
2
sky.
miles.
2 miles.
3 Ks.
Are you kidding me? And then
11
survived
days.
for 11 days in the bush.
Amazon.
Hey.
How has no one made a movie about this? Like Dad said, that's the greatest movie ever made.
Hey. I did see a few other ones where
Jungle Book.
there's a bare necessities.
Jungle bookings.
There was another one where there was a fellow found floating in the sea after a plane went down. I'm pretty sure.
And was that, I think
It
that
was
was like
probably
80
20 years
days,
ago or
80
30
days
years ago.
or something like that?
plane crash, man floating in the only survivor in the ocean. survive ocean, something like that.
The other one that's really cool, the 5 Tongan boys. You heard about that one as
that
well?
one.
That was pretty interesting. So these 5 Tongan boys, mischief buggers, they pinched somebody's yacht off Tonga, and they just meant to go for just a little bit of a joyride, and they got stuck in a storm, and the storm blew them like miles away from wherever they were, like a long, long way, and they ended up on this deserted island. And these 5 boys survived for 18 months on this island. They survived for 18 months before someone found them.
And they got found, and then they got in trouble then, did they?
Yeah, they got of course they did. It's Tonga, man. They got a jandal as soon as they got off the boat.
Come here, boy.
Yeah, bro. 100%. A big piece of rattan cane across the arse. Oh, 6 of them, sorry. 6 boys. In Ata, and they survived for 15 months. There you go. The boys ran away from their boarding school, stealing a boat in their escape. And then they drifted to the remote island of Ata, between 13 and 19 years old.
Australian lobster.
Isn't that crazy, man? I love those stories of survival. One of my favourite movies is probably Castaway.
I've only
Tom
watched.
Cruise.
You know how you can watch Tom Cruise? No, not Tom Cruise.
Tom Hanks.
007 Castaway.
And I was
might
running.
have been just as good.
Yeah, actually, I've seen parts of it. Like, you know, when they have it's on telly and it turn the telly. That's back when television just played the movie and you didn't get to watch it from the start.
Yeah.
That's how I sort of witnessed it. Bits of
I
it.
watched it years and years ago because it's like 2.5 hours long, or 2 3/4 hours long. It's a long movie.
I've actually been to that island,
What
Castaway Island
is
in
it?
Fiji. Yeah.
Oh, was it in Fiji? Was it? Is that where it was filmed?
Yeah, on my honeymoon we went there, a Tokariki resort.
Yeah, true.
And Castaway Island's next door.
Is it a big island where they?
No,
it
it's
is
pretty
just a
small.
little speck in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's cool. Pretty.
Yeah, it's a pretty island. Well, actually, we fished around it. We went trolling, and the only fish we got. This is what I'm coming back to Fijians, Vanuatu. No, I'm not going to go that far. But they said we'll go fishing. We paid $250 each. Me and this American fellow. We sort of shared the thing so we could go for a fish that one day. Anyway, we went out. I said, mate, you got the first fish. Whatever hits, you can get it because he's never really caught a fish before. I'm like, all right, yeah, mate, first one's yours. The line went, bend, snap. It snapped at the eyelet because old mate's had a crack in it, the crack in the end of your rod.
You're kidding.
And he looks at us and goes, oh, it snapped the line. It must have been a big one. I said, don't rig that line back up. And he goes, no, that fish was big, eh? I said, I bet you check the end of that rod. There's a crack in that, and that's where it snapped because it snapped right there.
Right there.
And I said, don't rig that back up.
Yeah,
And he's like, it's okay, man.
Give me a hand
It's
line.
okay. No, he's like, it's okay. And he put it back on. And I'm like, well, this one's mine. This fellow can have that one.
Did you end up catching anything?
No, we didn't get a hit then after that.
You're
but
kidding.
yeah, it was definitely, from dodgy line.
Oh, I've heard a few.
My mate lost a good
I've had a
fish on
few
it.
stories over the years of people going out to places like through Polynesia and getting on fishing charters and that sort of thing and catching nothing. Zero, zip, zilch. I think there's a big difference between the good charter operators out there and the ones that are like, come on, white man.
The one I went on it wasn't a bad boat, but it was only like 6 or 7 meter boat, and their gear was shit, and it was pretty much taking the piss. That's what they were doing.
We take your money, you no catch our fish. All right. What else did I have down here?
So, do you believe in reincarnation?
It's just as believable as any other story we get about what happens after we keel over, isn't it?
Yeah, so in 2009, a 2-year-old boy named Christian started saying things to his mum and no child should bloody say. He said, he claimed that he remembered being a famous baseball player. And his mum just kept asking him questions. His name was Lou. He said his name was Lou Gehrig. So Lou.
Yeah, Lou Gehrig, the baseballer.
Gehrig.
Yeah.
And he's the Iron Horse. That's his.
Yeah.
his
I've heard of
nickname.
Lou Gehrig.
Yeah. And so there was this young fella was born and saying stuff. And his parents would dismiss it all the time, saying that he's just talking shit, whatever. But
schizophrenic, whatever.
but they're saying, how do you know? He said, and he pointed at a picture of himself. His mum like got sort of thing and said, "Can you bring it up online and have a look at him?"
Yeah.
And they brought up a picture. He goes, "That's me there, the fellow with the dimples."
You're kidding.
And then he said, "Yeah, I'm left-handed." Said stuff that he had nothing about. And as he got older, it faded. After he got to the age of 5, there was no more talking about it, and he sort of just fell out of his thing. But pretty much everything he said was
true.
yeah. So how the fuck could that be true? How could
They even made a movie about it.
The
Boy Who Knew Too Much.
Yeah, and his mum wrote a book.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I think the boy. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look that up. The Boy Who Knew Too Much.
and I've got a bit of a story
There you
like
go.
that. I just believe when people pass on, they can either pass on or they can hang around.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife's brother died of a horrible accident years ago. He was pulling a mate out of a bog and 2 trucks with snatching straps and stuff like that. And actually, the hooks on the trucks?
Yeah.
It actually snapped off and the snatching strap flew and just pretty much cut him in half.
Oh shit.
Just pulled his guts out of his body sort of thing. And just, cut him in half. So, we found all that out and stuff like that. And then my young fellow was born probably a couple of years after that.
Mm.
And we were in the shower one day and I said, and he's there laughing and talking. He's only like 1 or 2.
Mm.
And he could talk pretty well for his age, my young fella.
Yep.
And we said to him,
So probably
Is
not spastic then.
no, he's not.
No, cool.
Yeah,
Yep, sweet.
definitely not.
Just clearing that up.
Glad we're all thinking
Just clearing that up.
And he was in the shower and you could see him have his hand up and he's talking and he's playing in the shower, with his back to us. He didn't know we were there. Anyway, we were talking and we said, "Mate, who are you talking to?" He goes, "Keith." And I said, "Who's Keith?" He goes, "Keith." And he's pointing up. That's her brother that passed away.
Did he know his name?
No.
Did he not?
I don't reckon. We might have spoke it, but we never really spoke of him
A lot.
and around him sort of
Yeah.
thing. And then, because his middle name is Keith.
Okay.
It's Asher Keith.
Is it?
But he and then another thing that sort of made sense was my oldest brother was probably around the same height and shape and frame as him.
Yeah.
And when he first because my oldest brother was not really around, and I said, "Oh, who's this one?" And he goes, "Oh, that's Keith," because he looked the same shape and height as him, sort of a tall sort of dude.
Yeah, righto.
And I said, "Oh, that," and he goes, "No, that's." I said, "That's your other uncle, Peter." And he goes, "No, oh, okay, oh yeah, oh no, it's not Keith."
Yeah,
And I'm
right.
like, "Fuck, it's crazy, eh?"
It's just as believable as anything else that everybody goes on about. With reincarnation, with I don't know, going to heaven, going to hell, wherever it is that you go. Going to where else do people go?
Go to Coastal Marine and Outdoors.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
And if you want to go hunting and fishing,
Yep, especially at this time of year when the winds are blowing up this way and you can't take the boat out, you may as well get it serviced.
get it serviced and also get your crab pots because she's cool now.
Yeah, apparently they've been getting a few crabs, eh?
Definitely.
I heard.
Yeah.
Mm.
I actually
I might
wanted
even
to
have
go
to-
this weekend, but I've ran out of time.
Yeah, hear you. So anything you need, marine related, hunting related, boat related, all that sort of stuff, go and see Joel and the boys at Coastal Marine.
Yep, and they will sort you out. They got pretty much
Everything.
everything, the gear you need to go hunting, camping, fishing.
Yep. If you're going bush, don't worry about BCF. Come and see these boys up here. If you're heading north, up the Cape and that sort of thing, and
Yep.
you want a pit stop before you go to get everything else that you might need, they do engine servicing, trailer servicing, all that sort of stuff. They'll install electronics. They are the Mercury and Stacer dealership up this way as well.
Yep.
So if you need a new donk, come and see them.
Yeah, and the thing I like about Coastal Marine Outdoors is that the stuff they stock is stuff that works.
Yeah.
You go to other companies like big corporate ones where they just put stuff
Big
that
corporate
sells.
fuckers. Big
Yeah.
corporate fuckers. Do
Yeah,
you like
they
that?
might.
Yeah,
Yeah, big-
those ones. Yeah.
Yeah, big cunt fuckers. Where's that cancel button?
Dude, you got to get on top of this cancel button, man, or we're going to have to sack you, bro. You've missed a few today.
Yeah, so They actually hold the stock that actually works.
Yep.
That's the part that I like about that shop.
Yep. So hunting gear for your dogs, thermal gear, which is all the rage at the moment.
the
See in the dark,
Hick micro stuff they got running.
all that sort of
Actually, I
stuff.
took my young fella for a hunt yesterday morning.
Did you?
I woke up and I walked outside because I told him the night before. He goes to me, "Oh, Dad, can we go fishing tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Oh, if you get up early enough." I walk outside at 5 a.m. Here he is sitting on the couch.
Oh, was he?
And I'm like, "What are you fucking doing up?" And he goes, "We're going fishing, aren't we?" I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, that's awesome. Mate, if you can get a teenage boy out of bed at 5 in the morning, something's going all right.
I said, the bite time's not till like starts at 8. I said, well, you want to go for a hunt? So we just got all the thermal gear and we just walked out in the paddock next door to it and went for a walk around and seen nothing.
Cool.
We heard one in the bush, but we weren't going in there because it's thick jungle.
Pussy.
Not going in there.
Should have just sent him in there. That's what kids are for.
He goes, "What's that?" I said, "I don't know. Keep running."
Yowie.
It's one of them yowies off the AI ones. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm just looking for something with your mate, Jono."
Bring that thermal gear in here. I lost my lady friend.
Yeah, so that's pretty much most of the stuff I got. There's only one more of the pub ammo I'd like to have a chat about. Is what do you think is the most efficient shape?
For what?
Just a shape out of all the shapes, triangle, circle, and all that.
Triangle.
It's got to be a circle.
Think of nature.
What, the helix?
Think of the honeycomb,
Oh yeah.
the hexagon.
Oh, yeah.
And they said they've done all the mathematical equations on it, and they've like this 10-page bloody booklet on. They just did the proper mathematic algorithms and all that, and it always comes back to a hexagon.
Does it?
For some reason, and they said that's why the bees do it.
Well, I guess you look at a lot of construction now, boat building and all that sort of stuff. They use a lot of hexagons for reinforcement and that sort of stuff, don't they?
And they said they're still trying to figure out if it's nature that does it, because bees might make a circle, but the way the wax heals and turns, it actually turns into a hexagon. It's either that or they actually know to make that shape.
Well, have you seen that Terrence Howard? He's a bit of a weirdo, but I think he's a pretty intelligent weirdo. Did you see the drone he developed?
No.
So it's a hexagon, but it's put together. It's like four or five different hexagons put together, and it can fly in any direction that it wants to. Like it can go. Here it is. What's it called? Linchpin drone, they call it, and it kind of can fly in any direction, any way that it wants. It's really quite interesting, and the big thing with it is, you can double it up.
Yep.
So you can take the same drone, put it on it again, and then again, and then again. And you end up, there it is there. Check that thing out. Pretty wild, eh?
Hey.
And it can fly on any axis, like it can go in any direction.
Yep.
Make it bigger, make it stronger, all that sort of stuff. Very cool.
And you can be on the spectrum like.
And that's that's not a hexagon. Sorry, my bad. That's a pentagon.
Yeah.
Isn't
5.
it? And we know what happened to the Pentagon. Plane didn't fly into it. Tell you that right
One
now.
of them probably flew into it.
Probably a drone now.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But even that circle looking one up there next to it, it's a General 1 linchpin. It's a crazy
Far
looking
out.
thing.
Look at all this sort of stuff.
It's like a rollerblade.
And
melted rollerblade.
And folks, that's what war looks like these days.
Pretty much.
No more soldiers.
So a few people might be saying to us, you were episode 109 last week, and now you're this week's 113. There's a reason behind that.
What's the reason, cuz?
I've never seen this fella laugh so much.
I've already been ripped apart
As
on
soon
this.
as I seen it, I just went, "You're kidding."
See, I'm actually enjoying this because I've already been ripped apart for my mathematics skills on here before. Okay, so welcome to Moldy Math, bro. What have you got?
So this week on Moldy Math, bro. No, we because when I put the episodes up, I don't really, unless I go back and look what the last episode, I don't remember what number they were.
We should probably start writing it on the board.
Yeah. So I just type in I think it was 29. So I was like, 29, 20, 30. And then I've done that a few times. And then I've looked back when I've posted them, and then after you post them, like, I'm not fucking going to go through and edit it. So I'm like, oh,
It's up.
I've put 229s up. I've put like 230s, and then I put one. What was it? One was
It was 29 again, or it was something
yeah,
like
it was
that.
29, and then I wrote 29 again, or something like that in the episode. And then he goes, but it wasn't even episode 29. None of them.
Neither of them were even episode 29. It was like episode 30.
So did we ever look into what episode our 100th episode actually
It
was?
was actually 102.
Was
Yeah,
it?
He said it. Yeah.
Oh, no.
102.
We come in early.
I was like, oh.
Oh no, it would have
Late.
been 98.
Yeah, it would have. No, it was 2.
Yeah, because we would have done
2
them
out.
earlier.
Yeah.
So it
So it was
would've-
98.
Yeah. If it was
It was 98.
see more mouldy math, bro.
Far out. It's getting worse and worse.
So so we switched from our host, because when you have a podcast, you actually have to send it to someone and they distribute it to everyone, because apparently you're not allowed to do that yourself. So we changed companies, and when we changed them over, they just all the episodes came over, but they gave us account and the numbers of each episode. And I'm like, holy shit, we've actually got 4 more episodes. Or 3 more episodes. So,
that's
and then we
too
went,
good.
because we went back through them, was like
Oh,
29
there it is.
again. And
29,
and there was
29,
236s
30,
or something.
30, 31.
So we're far ahead of ourselves.
I'm going to use those whiteboard markers up there and write it up there. So what are we up to? 115.
113.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it here.
All right. And that is the tail end of episode 113.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks for all the shout outs.
It was Friday the 13th the other day too.
It was.
When?
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
Was it?
Mm.
Oh, man.
That's
That was a scary. Did you watch that when you were young? Friday the 13th?
oh,
Like when you were a young fella. Did you
Nightmare
ever
on
watch it?
L Street.
Yeah. I watched that that ruined me for years, man. Like that Freddy Krueger dude, when I think I would have been 10, maybe 10 or 11. And that was I went and stayed at some people's houses and they were kind of friends, you know what I mean? And their boys were a little bit older than me and they're like, oh yeah, let's watch this movie. Man, I was tormented forever.
Same. Whenever I went out bush, I
Yep.
was always scared of the dark, even though there would never be a,
Yeah.
murder killer out.
No,
out
not
bush.
way out
But
there.
As a kid, I'm like, Dad will get away from me, run into a pig, and I'll be standing next to a tree, listening to all the little
Yep.
noises,
Yep.
and just being scared.
But where your old boy's got his thing, I'd be a bit worried about murder killers out there.
Yeah.
No, they're in jail now, so
Yeah,
it's
they're in
okay.
jail.
We don't have to worry about them anymore. I think that's why my little fella's so fast. He's scared of the dark. Whenever you ask him to do something outside and it's dark time, I'm like, go and grab this or go and grab that, and you can hear his little feet. Nah, I'm not even scared of the dark, Dad. Mm-hmm. Sure. All right, beautiful people. We're going to check out of here. Thanks for checking in again. All the shout outs and kind words last week are sincerely appreciated. So thank
All right.
you. And if you want to send us in anything about your useless employees doing useless things and costing you money, time and effort and heartache, send them in. Make this fella feel better.
And if you also like to sponsor the podcast, or if you want me to go a little bit cancelish, less cancelish,
This is the wrong time to ask, bro. After the shit you just said. Oh yeah, jump on board.
Can't get worse.
can't get any
No, but it
worse.
can.
Yeah. Tune in for next time.
Tune in for next
I
time.
might actually listen back and see if I can uncancel some stuff.
Too late now. You got to run with it.
No, I'm not just going to run with it.
That's the way.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here. Talk soon.
Two road.
Laters.
See you next week.